All right, welcome back. Now, if you pay attention, things are starting to heat up. The momentum is picking up in UFC, WMMA. There's a lot of things going on. We see a lot of new faces in 135, and I just made a video about how it has the most undefeated fighters right now. Has more undefeated fighters at 135 than the other two divisions. At strawweight and at flyweight, each of those divisions have only one UFC undefeated fighter. So that's one thing. At flyweight, you also have a new crop of fighters that's moving up through the rankings, right? You got one at bantamweight, that is Cavalcante, but we've recently seen Norma Dumont finally make her way up. She's now number 3, so that's something new. And now, here recently, we've had Wei Li vacate the belt, right? Mackenzie Dern is now the champ. Wei Li's relinquished the title. Why? She is about to move up and fight Shevchenko. I don't think people expected that to happen. People knew Wei Li wanted that fight, but we all thought that she would just, hold on to her belt and try to be a double champion. But no, this is more of a risk. See, if she's trying to be a double champion, then if she loses, she automatically still has her own belt. But this time, if she loses, she would have to go back to strawweight and fight for her belt. So that's different. And if she stays at flyweight, she's just now a contender. So Wei Li goes from champ to contender, possibly, or champ to champ, possibly. Either scenario, that's kind of crazy. That's why I said, maybe she can't make the weight. Well, I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to challenge herself. And here recently, we've had Kayla Harrison call for a fight against Shevchenko at the White House. She said that would be her dream opponent if Shevchenko beats Wei Li. She would like to fight. Now, of course, it's risky calling out somebody in a division beneath you. People always look down on bigger fighters, calling out smaller fighters. Maybe that's not a good look. But she's done it. It's already done. She can't take it back. And Shevchenko has somewhat responded. It's not really a response. Shevchenko gave her usual response that, she's not thinking about it right now. She's focused on Wei Li, and that after she fights Wei Li, then she'll come back to this question. Okay, fine. But here's the thing. Do we already have signs that Shevchenko may not want to fight Kayla Harrison? Because I think there are signs where people can make that argument. Because, remember, Shevchenko was rooting for Pena to beat Kayla Harrison at a time when there was talks of Shevchenko going back to bantamweight, even by herself. Right? Well, she was talking about going back to 135 and grabbing a hold of that title. And when Pena was about to fight Kayla Harrison, Shevchenko said that she was rooting for Pena to beat Kayla Harrison because she likes Pena's fighting style and character. Nah. More like, a lot of people believe it's because you believe you have a better chance of beating Pena than Kayla Harrison, because why would you prefer Pena? Right? If you want a big fight, if you want to take the belt from a highly credible fighter, you would want it to be Kayla Harrison, not Juliana Pena. Kayla Harrison, the undefeated, big-time judo chick who's very big, making a lot of noise right now. Okay, this is what some people are thinking. Like, why would you prefer Pena to win? And if Shevchenko wins, I'm going to have a close ear on her social media to see what she has to say. I want these journalists better remember. I'm sure Kayla Harrison will remind her, like, hey, I called you out. I called you out to fight at the White House. What do you have to say? Do you accept the challenge? Now, if Shevchenko turns it down, will people look down on Shevchenko? Will they say, hey, you're kind of a coward, Valentina, because you were willing to fight somebody smaller than you, and Wei Li was willing to fight someone bigger than her? That she, maybe thought that she could beat. But will that be the narrative if Shevchenko turns it down? Well, hey, are you scared? Now, it's hard to make that argument because Shevchenko already fought at 135. But she didn't fight Kayla Harrison at the 135. Kayla is more like a 145-pounder who fights at 135. Who shows incredible strength. Incredible strength. Now, Shevchenko may have submitted Pena, but Juliana Pena was muscling Valentina around in that fight a bit. Valentina got a trip there, but Pena wanted to get close and wanted to wrestle with her. She was confident in her strength against Valentina. And Kayla went in there and ragdolled Pena. See, Kayla's a different bantamweight. Now, if Valentina accepts this fight against Kayla Harrison, how many of you going to take Valentina in that fight? Do y'all really think she can overcome that much of a size advantage or disadvantage? Okay, that'll be crazy. So, this is good. This is a good thing, I think. I mean, it's looking too far in the future. Kayla has a fight. She might lose that fight. This all might get ruined. But as it is right now, I can say one thing. I believe Wei Li has kicked it off where champions are going to want to fight other champions. Right? UFC has always done this, but it hasn't happened yet with the females. This is the first female champ fight. And the fight itself is gonna have a different feel that I believe other champs are gonna want to experience. It adds excitement to WMMA, these types of fights. Remember, We've been calling for these champ fights for a while now. So I believe it's going to start something that the other champions will want to continue. But man, I think Kayla is too big for Valentina. I understand Shevchenko is a high-level striker and all that. But if she gets a hold of Valentina, I'm really not confident in Shevchenko out-muscling Kayla Harrison. I'm not confident in that at all. Now, I'm confident in Shevchenko out-striking Kayla. Definitely. But if Kayla get her paws on Shevchenko, I don't know what's going to happen there. And I bet you something else. People who usually pick Shevchenko in fights, many of the people who's picking Shevchenko over Wei Lee, they're going to be reluctant to pick Shevchenko against Kayla Harrison. Okay, most definitely. And look, even if Wei Lee loses, as long as she doesn't retire, there'll be a lot of crazy fights for her as well. If she is at 125, she'll be fighting the likes of Manon, Natalia Silva. That's kind of crazy. It's unexpected. It's something new. That's whether or not she wins the title. If she stays at flyweight. Now, if she comes back to strawweight, she'll have a new opponent with Mackenzie Dern, if Dern is still the champion. She hasn't fought Mackenzie Dern yet. Right? So we would at least have that fight to look forward to. Also, let's say Kayla doesn't get the fight against Shevchenko. I'd like to see Kayla against Norma Dumont. Because Kayla has already fought Ketlin Vieira. And I think that was one of the reasons Norma won. Ketlin, if she moves up and gets a title shot, that's nothing new. Right? We've already seen that fight. So Norma against Kayla would be something new. But I'm sure everybody would take Kayla in that fight. It was too easy for Ketlin to get Norma Dumont down. Right? That's not good. And Pennington recently had surgery, and she's recovered now. I know a lot of people are tired of her, just tired of seeing her fight. But she's difficult to fight. That's just what it is. She's still highly competitive against, at the top of the bantamweight division. And you just don't see the new fighters moving up at 135 and just being too much for those fighters at the top of the division like we've seen with the other divisions. So things are developing, at least from this seat. And let me know what you think.